Hello, everyone. We're delighted that you could join us. I'm Frank Nemhauser. I'm the music director of Berkshire Choral International, and I'm joined by...
Hey everyone, I'm Stephen-Marc Baudouin. I'm the executive director of the Washington Chorus. Frank, here we are. We made it.
That's terrific. This has been a long time planning, and it's so exciting that it's finally here.
Oh, it's thrilling. And Frank, I just want to say at the outset, from all of us at the Washington Chorus, we are so thrilled and honored to be collaborating with you and Berkshire Choral International.
And likewise, we're just delighted that this has come to pass, and what a wonderful collaboration.
It's a terrific collaboration, and I have been amazed, Frank, and we were just talking about this. I've been amazed at the response, and we have over 300 singers joining us this week. And we're going to put up a map right now. You can take a look at this map that we're putting up to see that singers are joining us from not only all over the country, but from all over the world. We have singers from over 35 states across the United States of America joining us. And we have singers from many countries, including Australia, Canada, Singapore, South Korea. What a turnout.
That's terrific. It's so exciting.
So the Washington Chorus, we are DC's only two-time Grammy Award-winning choral ensemble. This year we celebrate our 60th anniversary season. We've had a lot of terrific adventures over 60 years, performing for papal visits and presidential events. And we are so thrilled to welcome this year for our 60th anniversary season, and for hopefully many years to come, our fifth artistic director, Dr. Eugene Rogers. And all of you tonight are getting one of the first chances to sing and work with Eugene. So we are so thrilled. Frank, tell us a little bit about BCI.
Next year will be our 40th year. And in those 40 years, we've brought together over 9,000 singers over the course of our existence from just about every state in the Union, Asia, Europe, South America, people who just love singing. These are impassioned choral singers. We've performed in various places in the United States and Europe, and we're just thrilled to be collaborating with you tonight.
Oh, thank you. Well, I know that before COVID changed everyone's universe, we were already in conversation. You have a terrific new president and CEO, Steve Smith, who's a dear old friend and colleague of mine. And so we've been starting some initial conversations, and who knew that we'd be cooking up a collaboration like this in this first way.
Well, Steve has been doing a terrific job, and so glad that he and you have dreamed up this wonderful opportunity.
Thank you. So, Frank, tell us a little bit about what folks can expect to experience tonight and this week.
So tonight, you'll be able to see Eugene Rogers, our first conductor in this series, talk about the Duruflé Requiem, give a little insight to the piece, perhaps the composer as well. And I'm sure he will talk about how this wonderful work, written in the middle of the 20th century, is really based on Gregorian chant. And it's a wonderful confluence of varying styles. Beautiful, beautiful work, and very popular with choristers.
And then on Friday
is the actual sing, and you'll be able to sing with Eugene conducting and get your fill of the Duruflé.
Terrific. And then afterward, we're going to invite singers to join in a little social hour to ask some questions of Eugene, to get to know each other. So we'll drop a link after the sing on Friday so that you have a chance to join if you'd like to join in a conversation with Eugene and get to meet some of your other singers from around the country and around the world. But this is the first, but it's the first of three. Is that right?
That's right. So in addition to this week's festivities, in a few weeks, Catherine Fitzgibbon, one of BCI's longtime conductors and was on our faculty for many years. She is based in Portland, Oregon. She'll be leading music of Black American composers, including Adolphus Hailstork, Rollo Dilworth, Bernice Johnson Reagan. The sing will be on Friday night, October 30th at 8 p.m. Eastern. And the preceding Monday, October 26th, we'll have our class. That's also at 8 p.m. Eastern. And then in December, Rob Eistad, who is based in Orange County, California, will lead Handel's Messiah. Because what is December without a Messiah sing?
December would not be much of anything without it.
Right, so we'll do a virtual sing. This will be on Friday night, December 11, also at 8 p.m. Eastern, with a preceding class on Monday, December 7. You guessed it, 8 p.m. Eastern.
Excellent. Well, I know that many of the folks that are here this week have already signed up for all three. So to all of you that have signed up to subscribe to all three in this series, bravo. I'm giving you some virtual applause. Thank you for signing up. There's still space available for folks who haven't yet signed up for October with Kathy Fitzgibbon, with 3 terrific Black American composers, and then in December with Rob Eistad with selections from the Messiah. So please plan to join us. I will be with you for all three, and I know that many of our friends at the Washington Chorus and around the world will be with you as well. And I know people want to get directly to singing and to learning. So do you have some final thanks or acknowledgements you want to make sure that we know?
Well, we thank everyone for joining us. We thank the Massachusetts Cultural Council for their support of BCI. And again, just so excited. Let's get to singing.
Let's get to singing. And all of us at TWC want to thank our friends at the DC Commission on the Arts and Humanities, the National Capital Arts and Cultural Affairs Program, and the U.S. Commission of Fine Arts. Thank you to all of our friends from those organizations, and to all of you joining us tonight. Have a wonderful time with Eugene, and we'll see you again.
Thank you, Frank and Stephen, for that wonderful introduction. What a joy it is for me to be with all of you this evening. And before we get started, Bobby, do you have a few announcements you'd like to make before we get started?
Yes. Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. Good evening. Just a little bit of housekeeping. I've noticed in the chats, everybody's listing where they're tuning in from, which is fantastic. Make sure you click all attendees and panelists so that everybody can see where you're tuning in from, because there are a few options there. If you have any questions that you would like to ask Eugene during the course of this event, please put it in the Q&A portion, and we'll make sure that we get to as many as possible. And we're very excited to have you all here.
Excellent. I want to introduce you to these wonderful, important people who are here with us tonight. Bobby Shore, who's the TWC Director of Operations and Community Engagement, as well as to Wei-Han Wu, who is our wonderful accompanist at the Washington Chorus. So we're so excited to be with all of you tonight. Thank you for joining us. I can't think of a better way to begin our week than with this powerful work by Duruflé. Our world needs this right now, in my opinion, and I want to dedicate our work tonight and our performance on Friday to all those who have lost their lives during this pandemic, whether it be due to COVID-19 or social injustice. Any life lost is one too many. And Duruflé's setting to me is one of much comfort and peace. Duruflé states himself, quote, "This requiem is not an ethereal work singing of detachment from human concerns. In the unchanging form of Christian prayer, it reflects the anguish of humanity faced with the mystery of its final end." Our goal tonight is to learn a bit about this magnificent work, sort of a Reader's Digest version, if you will, and go through some challenging and most beloved moments in the score. We will also get you involved with a few polls tonight, so it will be overall an informational, interactive, and musical evening. So I'm going to tell you now, go grab your favorite beverage, your pencil, your score, and let's have some fun for the next 45 minutes or so. For starters, let's see how many of you have ever performed the Duruflé's Requiem. Bobby, would you let us see our poll tonight? Everyone chime in. Let us see.
Wow, you all are fast.
We can't see anything on this end, so there's such excitement on our end to see.
All right, we're at 90% voted. Give it 10 more seconds for anybody who is trying to remember. Well, I mean, you've performed so many pieces, it's hard to keep it all and keep track of it all. All right.
Not when it comes to Duruflé.
Answer in 3, 2, 1. All right.
Okay. So it's really a nice mix. Never over half of the people have never. 75 folks have done this once. Good. Not over half. I'm looking at the numbers instead of percentages. Okay. Great. Wonderful. Most people have done it once and a few times, it seems. Bravo. Well, I can't tell you. Thank you for doing that poll, everybody. Let's get started, shall we? I want to first of all just talk about my own connection to this work. I love this piece. I've had the chance to work on this piece when I was a doctoral student many years ago, and since have had 2 to 3 additional performances. And I'm sure, like many of you who have performed it, that it is simply one of your favorites. Duruflé, just a little bit about him. Duruflé was born in 1902 in the north of France, and overall we think of him as an organist, a composer, and a teacher. In approaching this requiem, I think it's useful to point out that Duruflé became immersed in traditional ecclesiastical music or Gregorian chant at a very young age. His involvement actually began working on chant when he was 10 at the Rouen Cathedral in 1912, and it left a lasting mark on his life. And it was here that he fell in love with plain song and the timeless world of medieval modes. His wife, actually, I love this quote, describes him as a Gregorian soul. And I think we will clearly see that tonight in his other works. Along with attending this wonderful choir school, he gravitated towards the organ and continued studying at the Conservatoire de Paris, where he was exposed to the great tradition of French organ playing under such mentors as Louis Vierne and composition and talented teacher of Paul Dukas, who also taught Messiaen. Some of you may know him from that. Duruflé didn't write a lot of music. He barely published over a dozen compositions. Composed only about 14 works, and his compositions can be mostly divided between those for keyboard, organ, and piano, and his choral compositions. So when we think about him, his choral music is very little output. And some believe this is because he was an absolutely meticulous composer who actually was rarely satisfied with his work. His first and most famous choral work was the Requiem. I'm telling you, if we had to think about composing, if our first work as a choral for writing for choirs as the Requiem, my goodness, he really, as we would say, knocked it out of the park. And that's most of his 2 most famous choral works are rooted in Gregorian chant. Obviously, his Requiem and his Quatre Motets that many of us have sung. I'm curious, and I can't see this now, but I'm wondering if any of you have ever sung his stunning motet of Ubi Caritas from that set of 4. Let's talk about the Requiem just a bit. His Requiem by many is considered to be the greatest chant-based Requiem ever composed. And it was Duruflé's, as I said, his first choral work. There's some debate about the origins of the work, but there is agreement by many that his publisher, Durand, commissioned him to write a choral Requiem. At that time, he was composing a series of organ pieces on these chants, and it really was quite simple and easy for him to transform the organ preludes into a work for chorus, organ, and orchestra. It was actually ended up starting out something, as you can imagine, a simple choral work, if you will, taken from the organ preludes. But even in 1946, Duruflé is noted for saying he was terrified by the adventure and size of the work which he had embarked upon, because as we can see, this is no small feat. Imagine this. It was the 2nd of November, in 1947. And for those of you who are part of liturgical backgrounds, that's considered All Souls Day. And during that time, at night on November 2nd in 1947, a memorial concert on a French radio station when when the premiere of this beautiful requiem was first heard. Of course, there were live performances after that, but the first performance happened on the radio. This was a memorial concert for all the French men and women who had lost their lives during the war. And so there is no doubt that some and many perceive the Requiem as a response to the Second World War. What we know for sure is that Duruflé himself dedicated the work to the memory of his father, who died in February of that year. 3 versions exist. So he scored it obviously originally for chorus, soloists, and orchestra. But the first version that he published was in 1948, and that was with organ accompaniment, with solo cello in the Pie Jesu movement. And then a version for chorus, organ, and reduced orchestra followed in 1961. Following both the liturgy and the French tradition, Duruflé divides the work into 9 movements using the traditional Missa pro defunctis, which is Mass for the Dead text, which, as we can see, for those of you, if you flip through your score, if you've never sung this before, but maybe you've performed a lot of Mass settings, you'll notice with the Requiem setting, it omits, obviously, the Gloria, the Credo, and the Alleluia, but it adds the Dies Irae sequence, the Libera Me, and the In Paradisum, which is one of my absolute favorites. What do we love about singing the Duruflé? Or another way to ask that is, what is unique about this work? Obviously, I think one of the things that makes this so unique is that it has ensured its survival because of the ubiquitous presence of Gregorian chant and modality that's integrated with 20th century harmonic ideas in every single movement. Both Duruflé and Requiem, which often many compare the Fauré Requiem to the Duruflé Requiem, both Duruflé and Fauré Requiems focus on the restful and peaceful nature of death, rather than the angst and tragedy that we often hear in the large operatic Requiem settings of Verdi and Berlioz and even Mozart in some instances. An aspiration towards happiness above is what I think of when I think of these settings, instead of doom and gloom of judgment. Again, both of another reason why it gets compared to Fauré is because they both omit the traditional Dies Irae sequence that depicts the wrathful day of judgment. Obviously, the Dies Irae text is a part of the Libera Me movement, so of course it's included there, but its own movement is not included. And they both assign the Pie Jesu to a mezzo-soprano soloist. And both works end with the beautiful settings of In Paradisum. I think one of the biggest differences, obviously, is that Fauré uses no chant in his composition. All right, we're going to dig in a little deeper now musically, but before we do that, let's take another poll. Bobby, can you give us our second poll of the evening? How long have you been singing with the choir? I can't wait to see this.
Oh my. That's really impressive.
I'm just so disappointed that you get to sort of watch it calculate.
Oh, so you're not watching them come in live
I don't get
as
to
people
see any
answer.
of it. No,
it is so neat. You will see why I reacted that way in just a moment.
Cool.
See, we're at 93% voted. We'll give maybe 10 more seconds.
How long have you been singing within a choir, period, all of your life? That's a good question, not just presently.
All right, 94% voted. Last 2 seconds. 3, 2, 1.
Wow.
Right?
That's amazing.
That's impressive.
77% of you have been singing in choirs for over 20 years. Wow. I tell you, I just feel like the luckiest man alive to work with choirs. I mean, when I think about the commitment and the passion that so many of you I know bring to your various communities, and what I know I have at Michigan and the Washington Chorus and Exigence, it's just that love of choral music is just infectious. So thank you for that. Okay, everybody, grab your score now and let's dig a little deeper. So now we'll do some talking through, highlighting some moments, but also some singing and as best we can. This is a first time for all of us, having Wei-Han and I. This is our first actual rehearsal together, and it's over Zoom. So here we go, everyone. Let's start with movement one. I have to tell you, honestly, between movements one and two, I go back and forth about which one is my favorite. I don't know about you, Wei-Han, but I just love them so much. And I think one of the biggest differences between these two movements is obviously both of them are heavily based on the original chant as their source for the melodies. And obviously you have these long unison lines. But obviously the introit, the first movement, is without regular meter. And so you get obviously the constant change because Duruflé is obviously trying to imitate the natural inflection of the Gregorian rhythm. So let's everyone please, I'm gonna move around just a little bit. I love everyone to sing this chant melody together. So sopranos and altos, would you be tenors and basses for now? Here's our starting pitch. And I'll count you in. We'll start right on the second measure, okay? 2, 3, and 1. Sopranos and altos for now, stay there on the melody. And 1. Oh, I just love that. Let's start this now with a bit of the accompaniment. Wei-Han, would you count us in? Sopranos and altos, before we get started, he leads you right to your pitch. If you look right before before rehearsal 1, and your note comes right in there. Let's start it, please, with everyone together. Wei-Han, you count us?
1, 2, 3.
This chord here. Right here's sopranos and altos. Simply beautiful. And everyone just look back, sopranos and altos, and I would say thank you, Wei-Han, beautiful. If you go to rehearsal 2, really mark that 9/8 section there because it's easy to be stuck in the 3/4. And so really mark that sopranos and altos. Sopranos, I will just remind you, you find the la, sol, ti. Let's start there, sopranos and altos right there. 1, 2, 3. Yes. And then I love the way he just melds it to the unison F there. Oh, simply brilliant. And then obviously at rehearsal 4, we go up to the mediant here, the minor mediant, to this next section of the text. Since a good number of you have never done this before, let's just speak the text, shall we? This is at 2 after 4. And tenors and basses, you're welcome to speak with us as well. I'll count you in. 1 and 2. Te ecet hymnus Deus in Sion, et tibi redetur votum 1. Jerusalem. And the recording that we're using, I'm so excited. We're using the Robert Shaw Atlanta Symphony Orchestra and Chorus. There's a huge retard there, so really mark the retardando that happens there. Good. We're going to go all the way now, and altos, you've got your line. Practice that rhythm as well. We're going to go to 7 because I love at rehearsal 7 the way Duruflé now has the choir being a pedal point. You're just singing the wonderful, beautiful unison C while the chant is in the orchestra or the organ. Wei-Han, would you count us in? We're going to sing this part together.
Starting at rehearsal 7?
Yes, sir. Rehearsal 7.
1, 2, 3.
Here's the chant. That's beautiful. I encourage you, for those of you who this may be your first time, a good way to practice for me at starting with this movement is thinking of duples versus triples. And so I think of 9, 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and T and 1 and 2 and 1, 2, T, 1, 2, T, 1, 2, T. That'll help you with those transitions if you constantly keep that 8th note in mind. Let's go on to movement 2. And I have to say to you that I think this is one of the most glorious Kyrie settings of ever. I just think it's absolutely gorgeous. And even though the original chant is the source material, here's an example where Duruflé, it's confined right to the meter. A more regular pulse. And I often liken this movement to an imitative, polyphonic, almost Renaissance motet. And the unique part about this is you have these imitative entrances and the chant is still heard, but if you look at rehearsal 11, look at the orchestra part or the organ part. There you'll hear underneath this glorious polyphonic choral writing is these long tones, cantus firmus like, if you will, chant melody that's augmented. Let's start. We'll just do a little bit of this opening so people can get comfortable with their starting entrances. Wei-Han, would you lead us here? Count us in.
Sure. Here's your first pitch. And then the second pitch. 1, 2, 3.
How to use a beautiful chance color tenors, altos. Stop there for time. Yes, thank you. And I would encourage you, this is one of those movements where every line is a melody. Very Renaissance-like. I encourage you to go through that. It's absolutely gorgeous. And I'm sure all of you sing all of the right pitches. I can already tell from here that it was perfect. Let's go to rehearsal 13, because this is the section of this movement that's not based on the chant. And I find this to be the most thorny. So let's look at 13. And let's start with you. Let's start the bar right on 13, if you would, Wei-Han. And he's going to play the soprano and alto parts through rehearsal 15. So we can just get a little comfortable with this. Wei-Han, count us in.
1, 2, three.
Altos. Thank you. Good. Just slow it down just a little bit as people are learning. This is a tricky spot.
Sorry,
Let's
I
do
got
it
a little
again,
excited.
shall we? And altos, here's your first note. Chris. We'll go about the speed 1, 2, T, even though that's slower than normal. Okay. Go ahead.
1, 2, 3.
Here's your pitch, altos. Sopranos. That's the thorniest part. And again, if there's one spot when I work with my choirs that I have to do over and over again, it's definitely this section because again, it's not imitative. Every line is melodic in nature, if you will. The climax of this, when we come back to the Kyrie, right? I love this where he imitates the second half of the melody that has that and so everybody sort of plays around with that fifth material, and then the sopranos that's always a bit of a challenge. Sopranos, making sure we find that B flat. Let's practice this, everyone. We're going to start rehearsal bar before rehearsal 16. I would encourage you right away to circle that tempo change because it does broaden just a bit right here in the recording. Count us in, if you would, Wei-Han.
1, 2, 3.
Altos. Now sopranos on 3. B flat. That's a powerful movement. That's absolutely gorgeous. And obviously it's a little slower than it would be because we're trying to help people as they learn singing through the score to get more comfortable. Let's go on, everyone, now to movement 3, the offertory. The good news about this recording, and one of the reasons I chose this recording is because many Duruflé sort of later after the work was premiered talked about how for him a lot of the solos could really be sung with the full chorus or with soloists. And so this recording, Robert Shaw's recording, he uses the full chorus to sing all of these solo moments. And so I would encourage you, if you haven't sung those before, take a minute and look through those so you can have even more fun. And I love the part about these virtual sings on Zoom because everybody can be a soloist. Think about how fun it's going to be when we get to the Handel's Messiah and all of those arias and recits that you've always wanted to sing. Everybody can sing them. All right, so let's go to movement 3, everyone. And I find that Duruflé reserves some of his most distant keys for the most dramatic moments. For example, this movement is in F sharp minor. Think about where we just came from. And then it's also, in addition to that, it's perfectly proportioned, balancing the emotional trajectory and the variety of the text. So I'd like for us, we're going to look at a couple of challenges. And so for me, one of the highlights of this moment is, even though we know we're in F sharp minor, the transition that he has, if everyone look at rehearsal 24, the transition that goes to C major, I think that transition is absolutely one of the most magnificent. Let's go to 21, please. And let's have everyone sing the alto line and get ready to find your part at 24. We'll stop at 24 so people can hear that. Would you count us in, Wei-Han, please, starting at rehearsal 21?
1, 2, 3.
Pianist. And exactly. I love that moment. Yes, yes, and you'll have lots of chance to sing that. Let's jump ahead because the most exciting part is and challenging part is up ahead. Let's go to rehearsal 26. I love for everyone to speak because this is a section that will throw you off because the tempo is we're going to take it a lot slower right now. Even though you've performed it, it's always a good reminder. So I'll count you in, everyone. We'll start at rehearsal 26. One, and let's have you know, I want Wei-Han to play with us, but we found the latency. If I count him in, he's gonna be a beat behind. So we'll just speak and I'll count. Okay, here we go, 26. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, get ready, and libera eas de ore leoni. Libera eas de penis inferni e de profundo lacu. Good. And if I were you, I would make et de profundo, make those a little shorter so you get clarity of the eighth notes. I would circle that 4/4 bar, everyone, that happens closer 3 bars before or 2 bars before 27. De o re. So you accent that. Let's keep going. Here we go. This is 28. 2, 3, 1. Li. Vera eas de ore leonis. 1. Libera eas de penis inferni e de profundo lago. 1, 2, 3, 1, and 1. Libera eas. 1, 2, 1. Penis inferi. 1, 2, and libera eas de peore leonis. 1. Ne absorbe ad tatarus ne cadat in obscur. Watch that. Robert Shaw, Master Shaw does a huge retardando there. Pardon about my text there. I'm not used to having to chant it and wave and think about everyone over Zoom. Okay, let's try this, shall we, with a little bit of music. Are you ready, Wei-Han? Don't
Yes,
go
sir.
too fast, Wei-Han. We can't handle it if it's too fast.
It's fun.
I know. Okay, so here's the A flat. Here's the A flat. You come in on that D flat. Wei-Han will give you an A flat right on B2 before you enter. Okay, we're ready.
Should I start at rehearsal 26?
Please. Yes.
1, 2, 3.
Simply gorgeous. Sopranos, I would be remiss if I didn't highlight your one entrance that happens at 34. For those of you who haven't sung this, I will remind you that your first note, Duruflé is brilliant. He leads you right to it. 2, and then sopranos. I love the pedal. One. And you get the B pedal, setting you up for your quam olimabre hair. And so sopranos and altos, you can use that song. Do for the altos, mi, quam olim. Would you play for us at 36, Wei-Han, so we can hear that transition into this most serene, prayerful section? 36.
1, 2, 3.
Now you have the B natural pedal versus the C sharp. And 2. Now. That is heaven, isn't it? Ah! And then you have this fantastic baritone solo that everybody will get to sing. Bravo, bravo. Sanctus, everyone. This is a quote, though, before we do that, I want to read about that movement by Duruflé. The terrors of eternal damnation are quieted by the promise of salvation. The serene conclusion of Domine Jesu Christe, quam olim abrahe, offering a foretaste of the eternal peace to come in the in paradisum through a radiance of F sharp major. May the choir of angels receive you. That is simply, and it leads beautifully to our fourth movement, which I think is the climax of the first half of the work, this Sanctus. It's almost like a swing processional. Would you let us hear sopranos and altos? I'll tell you, if you've never sung this before, Duruflé, he gives you your first note right at the beginning of this. But the tricky part I find is seconds to know that your note is right in the middle. So sopranos on the mi, seconds do, so. Would you play for us, Wei-Han? Just a couple of bars so we can hear that lead in.
Yes, sir. 1, 2, 3.
Good, thank you. That bravo, bravo, bravo. And I would encourage you to be mindful of all the B naturals, because even though we're rooted in F, you get you get that a lot song too. So be mindful of all those B naturals. It's lovely, lovely, lovely movement. Because of time, we don't have time to go through every spot of it. I'd encourage you to speak the text if you haven't done it before, because the accents are slightly misplaced. So bringing out the stress wherever they occur in the beat. Now, everyone, I think we all can agree that our favorite moment in this movement, right, is this climax, this Hosanna lead-in. And so let's do a little bit of this. We have to do a little bit of that. And let's start at 47, shall we please? And we'll give everybody a chance to sing these hosannas tonight. I would say be mindful of 47. You notice you have eighth note entrances, 1, o, sa. But notice when the tenors enter, 2, 3 tenors enter bar before 48. Everyone find me before rehearsal 48. 2, 3, Osana. Boom. Osana. Bass. Osana. Osana. Then the altos get it. Osana. So watch the 16th notes pickups. Okay, let's try it, please. This is at 47.
One, two, 3.
I would tell you to note now the entrances are eighth note entrances versus the 16th note entrances. Fantastic, fantastic movement. Everyone, we are at sort of our half, if you call the seventh inning stretch, if you would. We've got another poll for you, Bobby. Let's do our third poll of the night before we continue.
All right, it started.
I love this.
We got some honest people.
Good. We like that.
Eugene, also, while we gave everybody a few seconds to answer this, we have one question so far in the Q&A.
Sure.
Do you want to knock that one out?
Absolutely. Hopefully I can answer it.
Let's see. A few of the basses commented. In movement 2, measure 14, do the basses sing C, D, E as written, or A, B, C to match the low strings?
Yes. Let me find that. Where are we now? This is that section, that infamous section.
Movement 2, measure 14.
Rehearsal 14. I don't have measure numbers.
So I'm sorry about that. It's the 5th bar of 11.
Mm-hmm. 5th bar of 11. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. I would sing what's in the bass line there, but that's the spot that throws people off, because I've done it both ways. I'm not, in all honesty, nobody will know basses. So sing your hearts to content. But again, that's the spot where I've sung exactly what's written, and I've also changed it. But so I would say I would sing at this point. I would sing what's written, to be clear. Okay, good. Let's go on, please. This is at. Let's see our result, please.
Okay. Get your answers in 3, 2, 1.
Oh. I love it. I hope people are being honest. I love it. 89%. Bravo. Yeah, I can say that I'm with that 89% as well. Oh. All right, everybody. Let's move on to movement 5, the Pie Jesu, which is in A flat. And this is really one of the movements when people say it's the most Fauré-esque movement in terms of the harmonic language, in terms of just the sound, if you will, and obviously imitating the mezzo. This doesn't have the Fauré doesn't use a mezzo. It's obviously a beautiful soprano, but this movement is one that people often liken to Fauré. I want to just remind everybody of one of the things that confuses people when they sing this as a chorus are the meter changes from 3 to 4, and just sort of picking up that sequence of that. Let's have everyone who wants to sing, and any countertenor that wants to join the altos and sopranos here, feel free. Let's start at the beginning of this, shall we please? I think this is one I can fake a little bit, so I'll do a little bit of this one. Let's start here. So we have... One, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. Two, three. If you're gonna move too early, it's right there. So really mark that bar. Yes. And then I think the same is true. This is 55. One, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. I love this right here. 3. And then the cello solo. Good. Be mindful of that. I'd say I love, just for my own wonderful interest, just to highlight everyone at 61. When you become the pedal tone, he loves these pedal tones, and I love it throughout. You can go throughout the score where there's these pedal tones where the cellist is obviously has the melodic material. Requiem. One, two. And we'll do that. That'll be a really, really long moment. Okay, Agnus Dei. I call this the movement of finding first notes because it's always challenging to find those first interests. And so that's, if we do nothing else tonight, I want to just key you into that. First of all, 63, altos. I don't know if you have accompaniment at all. You may not. And some of the choral scores, I think it's just the vocal parts. You get right before your entrance, you get C, F, then Agnus Dei, so it leads you right to it. Bum, 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 Agnus Dei. Yep. And then tenors, finding your first note. You're going to hear, obviously, this is 2 before your entrance. That note right there. Agnus Dei, qui tollis peccatum finding that D natural, that's key. Now, dona eis, and the tenors, re, sopranos, finding it from that. Agnus. So finding that B flat from the F natural that you get there. Let's do a little bit of this, shall we, Wei-Han? Let's start, if you would, at 64 so that we can get everybody in. I love this. You ready? Wei-Han, are you playing? Oh, we can't hear you. Oh, he was playing so beautifully.
So
all on
sorry, I
mute.
muted myself. Oh, shame.
It was
What a
so
shame.
beautiful. Oh my gosh, it was amazing. And because I only have 6 minutes left, I'm gonna say that was a great trial. So we need to move on. Okay, no problem.
No.
This is movement 7, everyone, because I definitely have to get to movement 8 before we leave here tonight. Movement 7. I think of this part, this movement in 2 parts. And so let's just quickly look at it. Obviously, you get the irregular rhythms here because we're imitating chant. I just want to speak quickly, starting at 75, so that sopranos have a chance. Everybody speak with them. Here we go. 2, 3, and Luke said, now just stop for a second. I'll say for those of you who maybe 8, 8, I'm thinking just about 4. Okay, when I see 6, 8, I'm just thinking 3, 4, 8, I'm thinking 2. So for those of you who've never done this before, don't be thrown off by that. We're literally thinking 1, 2, and 2, and 3, and 4, 1, and 2, and 3, and 1, and 2. That'll help, totally help that section. However, when you get to the 7, 8 section, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. I would draw a little triangle right above that pius. And those of you who are below that line, then I would also draw it. Make sure you note your bracket, the triplet there. Duple, triple, duple. Let's speak this right here. 2, 3 at 75. Lux eterna luce ateis domine, cum sanctis tuis in aeternum. Here, quia pius est, quia pius est. This is heavenly. And then obviously you get at 78, we again get this idea of the pedal tone. When I get to 78, everybody, rehearsal 78, I convert that 6/4 to a 3, sort of a 3 bar. 1 and Requiem aeternam. It just makes it a lot easier to sing. And the rest is similar to that. The second part is just obviously she's moved it lower in terms of pitches. Okay, let's go to our Libera Me movement, which is one of the most tricky. I would first of all say there's 4 sections here that I want to highlight If you're going to rehearse anything, I would say just circle all of the accelerados. Even though we're saying deliver me, I feel that this is a plea for mercy versus fear, and some of the most sweetest liberame music that I think you'll ever hear. So quickly, everyone, mark if you would an accelerano, circle it at 83, the animando poco a poco. If you haven't done this before, because it will take you off guard. Okay, then the moto animando, and then the animato, just to be ready for that. Circle those so you're not thrown off by that. And then let's go to 90. Let's speak this. This is about the text. Everybody gets to do this together. We'll start at 90 about the speed. 1, 2, and 1, 2, 3. DSE la. 1, 2, 3. DSE la. 1, 2. Calamita. Tis et miseria. Crescendo. 1, 2, 3. DS ma ya eta maharavante. Do that again. And this is a movement. If I was working with you, I would have you do what I call the barking technique. Because you need lots and lots of connection. Oh man, I wish I could do so much more, but I can't. I'll just remind you in movement 9, sopranos, that really watch your entrances. Your first entrance is 1. It's right after 1. But then your next entrance at 99 is on beat 2. 1 into 7. I find sopranos always want to get thrown off rhythmically there. And I wish I could see everybody, because I think the harmonic language at the end of this movement, I think he's writing, you can hear the jazz influence, the Les Six influence in his writing. I think it's some of the most beautiful harmonic language. Let's end quickly with a little bit of that singing together. Would you start us, Wei-Han? I think we have to do some music. We're going to start at 101, the pickup to 101, to the end.
Yes, sir. I'll do that whole bar. Is that okay?
Yes.
3, 4.
It's hard to get that together when you're in different parts of the country. Oh, my friends, what a wonderful, wonderful time that we had. I wish I could hear you. Duruflé himself, I have to read this, wrote about this movement. Here is contained the ultimate answer of faith to all questions by the flight of the soul to paradise. It also brings us back full circle with the Requiem. The word heard at the very beginning is the last to be sung. Rest eternal. What a joy it has been to spend an hour with all of you. I can't wait to sing through this amazing work with you on Friday night. We will be performing, as I said, with the Robert Shaw and the Atlanta Symphony Orchestra and Chorus performance. So feel free to listen to your favorite spots and that recording beforehand. We're going to have a good time. Thank you for joining us tonight. Until we meet again on Friday evening, may each of you have a wonderful week. And thank you, Wei-Han. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you, Bobby, for your assistance. Good night, everyone. Thank you.